So as I was going through Twitter, I came across this particular post that made me just honestly, I cringed unbelievably hard, and I'm sure you guys are gonna cringe just as hard as you read along with me and find out what I'm talking about. But apparently, there's this new article that was written, or this new piece, whatever you want to call it, that was written by someone called Damaris Bureau Vaughn, where she writes for the Medium. Okay, now I don't know if this is a biological female or anything like that. I have absolutely no idea. It doesn't really say anything necessarily in her bio, but I'm just gonna have to take her as a female. I saw this post on Twitter here, and it basically says from Cody Craven, my partner wrote a lovely piece about Haley and Insomniac game Spider-Man 2 PS5, why representation and inclusion matter, and the impact they can have on people. Now, this person looks to be a biological female who is pretending to be a male. It says he, they in the profile, but honestly, I'm not buying it at all. That is a woman 100%. And of course, with the inclusive terms that they're utilizing, because it's not just this person that uses those terms, it's actually their own partner as well, Damaris, that calls the other person a partner. So anytime you have that situation, it's almost always a gay relationship of some kind. So I'm going to go with the fact that that is a biological female pretending to of course be a male. But this particular piece is pretty interesting, because essentially what they're trying to do is convince you that this person, Damaris, wasn't able to see themselves for the 60 some odd years they've been on this planet, supposedly. So it is an absolute insane article, and it has to do with the deaf character in Spider-Man 2, and apparently how, again, Damaris was unable to see herself up until that point. So yes, this person who's been on Earth for that long, throughout all the entertainment pieces in history, have never been able to see themselves. They're trying to sell you that story. So let's get into the article, guys. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into the YouTube algorithm. So the headline says, feeling seen, finally, in Marvel's Spider-Man 2, emotion is the only thing players can understand when they step into Haley Cooper's shoes in her graffiti trouble side mission in Marvel's Spider-Man 2, a young deaf black woman and Miles Morales' love interest. Haley wears bilateral bright pink hearing aids and communicates using ASL, American Sign Language, with her close friends and text-based chat apps with those who don't sign. Haley's experience in the world is depicted through subtle haptic vibration and comic book style icons, displaying emotions both her own and those of people around her. She sees fear, love, anger, confusion, just to name a few. Now, of course, being deaf doesn't mean you don't feel these things. I don't know why they're trying to sell this story, but again, apparently they want to do that. Now, here's the best part about this entire piece right here. It says, Haley is the first time in my 67 years on this earth that I've seen more than just one of my identities represented in a single character, and my reaction to it caught me off guard. Yes, this 67-year-old grown-ass woman who apparently is 6'5" and is a deaf black woman, okay, if she is a biological female, holy shit, you are tall, okay, I'm gonna give you that. But she is a 6'5", 67-year-old deaf black woman. This old ass woman is trying to convince you that this is the first time that she's been able to see her identities, multiple identities, in one singular character in her 67 years on Earth. And it was so dramatic, it was so influential in her life that it took her back. And you're going to see just how ridiculous it gets. So she says, I have beautiful dark skin. Okay. I guess, are you okay with people saying they have beautiful white skin? I speak ASL exclusively, and I like to wear, you can't really speak anything else, and I like to wear heels when I have date nights with my partner. Yeah, so you could be, what, 6'8"? It's ridiculous. I love my blackness. That's like someone saying I love my whiteness. I love my deafness. I love my height. My mother went to great lengths to ensure nice pun right there. To ensure I loved myself, all of myself, despite knowing it wasn't likely I'd have many peers or role models in my daily life. I don't do much of anything to make myself fit into the world around me. My one and only attempt to conform was agreeing to get bilateral cochlear implants 30 years ago. I have not worn them in 29 years. I've grown accustomed to being the only one in most spaces, alone though rarely lonely. I'm not much of a gamer. My partner has spent the past decade working in the games industry, so I've naturally learned a good amount about them and their issues from watching him play, but the extent of my game time has been in Red Dead Redemption 2 Online. I took over my youngest son's account in character last year after he died from post-coup cardiac arrest to sustain a connection with him. Very sad. I am sorry to hear that, and that must be extremely miserable, and I will not make fun of you for that, obviously, but I am going to continue to roast the rest of the article. So again, sorry for your loss. That's very sad. On Spider-Man 2 launch day, I was getting ready to go out for my morning run when my partner launched the game. I looked up from tying my shoes to say goodbye, and instead of my usual view of seeing subtitle text at the bottom of the screen too far away for me to read, I was shocked to see two characters sitting in a classroom signing, two black characters at that. You gotta imagine just how sheltered. I mean, she even admits, right, that she's very alone. She's very much to herself. She doesn't really try to conform with the outside world. You have to be. You have to be very sheltered for you to think that two black characters signing on screen in a video game is something to be shocked about, right? Two black characters in general, like she says, two black characters in general, apparently to her is a very shocking thing. This is an extremely shocking thing. Oh my God, I can't imagine two black characters in a video game on screen. That's never been done before. You know what I mean? Like, this is a person who clearly doesn't have a lot of experience in the real world to understand that this is a very normal thing, and they still try to make it seem as if it's the most progressive thing they've ever seen in their entire life. Then it says, I marched over to my partner and waved my hand to get her attention. Who are they? I asked. Miles and Haley and Spider-Man. They're deaf? Haley is. Miles is learning ASL. Here's the best part. I got chills for the first time in my life. I was watching something on a TV screen that I didn't need closed captions for and seeing characters that felt familiar. Run canceled. My kids, all four of them are deaf. Is deafness like hereditary to the point where all four of your kids would be deaf? Like, are you just that unlucky? I don't know. I genuinely don't know if it's hereditary. If somebody could leave me a comment down below, I would greatly appreciate it. But damn, that if it's not hereditary, what are the chances all four of your kids are deaf? But if it is hereditary, then yeah, I can see that being a thing. Once my shock subsided and gave way to the joy of feeling seen, represented, something I've never experienced. God, stop. Stop. What are you talking about? What are you talking about that you never felt seen or represented? Are you fucking kidding me? A side mission on Spider-Man 2 made you feel seen. It gave you the joy of feeling seen and represented. They couldn't even give you a main mission. You're not even a main character. You had a side fucking mission, and that's what made you feel seen and represented. And now you're saying that's something you never experienced in your 67 years of being on this earth? You have never once felt seen or represented. I call bullshit. I call complete bullshit. You're lying. You're lying through your fucking teeth in this entire article. It says, I was on Amazon buying each of them their own copy of Spider-Man 2. Imagine being able to give them this experience when they were young was my only thought. They were raised in a world similar to mine where they were all alone, often peerless except for each other. Their kids, though, all four of my grandkids, I realize, all get to grow up in a world where someone who looked like them, signed like them, existed in a game that millions of people played, part of the culture, not a problem to be solved for. My son texted me yesterday, Ma, you play Haley's side quest yet? I told him I hadn't. You gotta play. It's in her perspective as a deaf girl. I got my CIs when doing so meant you sacrifice any residual hearing you had, and so without them, there's nothing, which have been my world for the last 29 years. Without any residual hearing to rely on, I become very attuned to how sound vibrates and adept at reading emotion, even when I don't know what's being said. Blah, blah, blah. She talks about her own personal experience, but again, I found this entire piece to just be absolutely ridiculous because she goes into the fact that this side mission is apparently the most important mission in the entire game and how it is the most progressive, amazing thing to have a deaf character mission in Spider-Man 2 and how she finally felt seen and represented. I don't buy a single bit of this. I don't know if you guys buy anything of this, but I don't buy it at all. This is very clearly a virtue signaling attempt from the wife of another person who works at Insomniac Games, who is also a woman, who is also in identity politics. This is the problem with Insomniac Games. And the funny thing is, these people don't even realize that all of this shit just gets thrown out the window when it comes to trying to sell this game in other countries. But they don't want to talk about that. They won't even want to talk about the missions when they're live in the United States version of the game, not in the actual Middle East version of the game. They don't want to talk about that. That gets swept under the rug. So again, all of this is just one massive virtue signal. The only reason she wrote about this is because she knows that Spider-Man Spider-Man 2 is extremely popular right now, and she also knows that her partner, this woman right here, was going to promote it for her. This person has 4,000 followers on Twitter, so yeah, it would be a good promotion for this particular article. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, and let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.